Doing well. You look great.
Yeah, well, looks don't mean nothing at my age.
Hey, a win's a win. So, Mr. Torres, what we're doing right now is we're going to start the interview for Donaldsonville Diaries, and it's on YouTube. This is our second episode, and what I want to know is to get to know you a little bit. We've already sat here and discussed you're a World War II vet, Army. So I'm giving you half cool points for that because Army became Air Force. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I stayed on the front line 3 years.
3 years,
3 years.
and you were part of the armored division, so you got to drive the tanks, right?
Well, yeah, I drove all the vehicle, but I was assigned when I feel to be honored because the first sergeant came to me and he said, you got the wrong. That's when I was in Africa. You got the wrong dog tags. I said, well, boy, that's good. I'm gonna go back to the state and get my good one. He said, no, I got them right here.
Mighty nice of them.
Yeah. And then about a week or so after, he come by and he gave me a note. And he said, you're the driver of this Jeep. And he said it's gonna be on your name, and you're gonna be the driver, so you take care of it. And, who's in those the vans that goes on the water? But it's so sandy in North Africa that it's sand the hole in the bottom of those Jeep.
Really, it wore it out.
And the base pump couldn't keep up with the water, so they changed it to the 4-wheel drive.
Mm-hmm.
And to get through all that sand, you had to follow some tracks to make it if you wanted to get through.
They had to make roads for you, basically.
And I drove the Jeep all through Africa. And then when we made the invasion of Sicily, they put me driving a half track.
Okay, those are pretty neat vehicles. Those are pretty neat vehicles.
Yeah. I drove that up the rest of the service, all through the service, all the way to Berlin.
From Sicily to Berlin? That's
why we ended up in Berlin, from North Africa to Berlin. We was on the Elbe River. We could have taken Berlin without firing a shot, but we had to wait for the Russians to come through. And the Russians, even if the Germans had their white flag up, they would shoot them.
Oh, they didn't play.
Them people was. And then if we want like riding around and looking around in Berlin, we had to be two in the Jeep because they'd knock you in the head if you was by yourself and take your Jeep.
The Russians would hijack you?
Oh yeah, we were fighting them Russians. After World War II, we still fighting them.
Oh.
Look, we won World War II. It's not because we had the better equipment, or we had the most of it. The Germans had the better equipment than we had. They had a gun that penetrated anything we had.
Which one?
At 88. And at 90 millimeter we wouldn't penetrate nothing. The only way you could knock the tank out is shoot the motor out.
Come out the back of it?
But that gun's still looking at you. But anyway, we won the war. We had most of it right across the street here. And
Where they have the POWs? The red building?
They had 300 German prisoners here.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't, because I was, somebody told me that, and I was like, no. And then I went to go look, and I'm like, wow, that's kind of crazy. They had POWs from Germany here working the cane fields, correct?
Yeah, right. We didn't have any more men here for the farm, and the people labor, so they brought these German prisoners here. They had 300 over here. They were displaced in different places in the United States, I guess, wherever they needed them. And the farmers used to come here in the morning and say, I need so many men. So he'd pick up so many men, he'd bring to his farm and work him that day and bring him back at night.
Wow. So that was true, huh?
When,
They weren't playing with me?
when we finished the war, we had some grandpas in the service.
Uh-huh.
Some of my grandchildren. We were shot. Yeah, we lucky we won that war. Hitler had these special troops. He'd pick up the healthy women and breed them with the soldiers. That's why he got his special troops. He thought they would be mean because they didn't know their parents, you know.
Oh.
So he thought they were mean, but they used to give up just like the rest of them. We captured, the 2nd Armored Division captured about 94.
Do you mind if I cut the TV off?
90-some thousand prisoners.
Do you mind if I cut that TV off? Just in case?
Yeah.
I'll get it for you, sir.
Look, the remote is right there by the chair. Yeah, I never thought about that TV.
No,
I just leave that thing on so I could hear people talking.
You're talking to me, right?
Yeah.
I'm more important than TV?
Yeah.
Not really.
Right. The TV, they got the same stuff on all.
Oh, yeah, it's always bad. Oh, no, that's cool. But, you've been through Africa, you've been through Germany, and you've been here in Deville.
Yeah.
You know, one thing that, you've been here since the 60s. I was told by some people, I think they were playing with me, but what they tell me is around 1970, they had a UFO sighting in Deville. Is that true?
What?
Alien ship fly across and crash into the river.
Well, I don't
Have
know.
you ever heard anything about that?
You used to hear all kinds of stuff. I didn't believe it because I didn't see it. Could have been, you know, might have had that in that dream.
Because they were playing with me like it was real. I'm
Well,
like,
it could be. I don't know. I doubt it though.
yeah, they said it crashed right into the river.
You know,
Nah, I wanted to ask that because I think they were
I
playing
don't
with
believe
me.
that either. I don't believe it. I mean, you heard more about it.
I know Deville's pretty cool, but I don't know if I'm going to crash a spaceship into it.
When I was in England,
Mm-hmm.
we landed in Tidworth, England,
Okay.
and I was stationed in the little community of Salzburg.
Okay.
You used to write at to your family, but your letter was censored. By the time they got it, it had a bunch of stuff cut off, and you looked at nothing but holes. But anyway, that's what I told them while I was stationed in England. I said, I'm living in the same place, in the little town, that's the same name that y'all have where you live in now, which was Salzburg. That's right there by the Sunshine Bridge.
On this side or the other side?
On this side.
Oh, really?
Before you cross the bridge from this side, you go to the river road and you make a right. And
Where that big plant is?
And the big plant that was Salzburg. They had a sugar mill there. That first little oak tree, there, that's where we were living. I planted that little oak tree in 1938, and it's still there.
Really? I'm going to have to take a ride.
Yeah. Because it never did really get big because energy trims that tree to keep it off the wires.
Right.
So I planted that stuff. I had an old black friend had a horse. He said, I tell you what, I'll sell you that horse for $10. I said, you mean that? He said, yeah. And it was a nice horse, too.
Is that a good deal?
Yeah, I got a good deal out of that.
I don't know what a horse costs nowadays. So.
Oh, yeah, horses are expensive. My daddy bought a horse from Pierre Paul. He came home on breakfast, he tied to the post. After he ate breakfast, he went outside and the horse had broke his neck trying to get loose from there.
Oh.
First day he had it. But anyway, okay, let's see. What other question you got?
How has Donaldsonville changed from when you first came in the 60s to now?
Donaldsonville never had well, I don't know how you say it, never had of progress, right now, you can see what's going on.
Right.
They got all that grant money. They repaired all them buildings, and you don't see no business. All the business is on the outside of the city, except Walmart. All that's on the city limit. That's Donaldsonville. I mean, that I know of, that it never really had a progress going on.
I can tell you there's some stuff going on. I can't exactly say what, because I may be privileged information, but because I know the Mastretta building, they're building it right now, and it looks pretty nice. And have you driven by the Lemon Center lately? No, not the Lemon Center, the Lemon Building over there on Mississippi and Railroad.
Yeah, well, I don't go. I can't drive no more, so I can't go around.
Oh, I see.
The only time I go around if I'm riding with somebody, they bring me riding around. And Donaldsonville changed. I mean, all them buildings look good now because they were repaired, but you don't see no progress in there. No business. No.
Well, we did get a new restaurant.
What?
We did get a new restaurant.
What?
On the corner of over there where Cafe La Fouche was.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a Pablo. No, it's a Mexican place. I don't remember the name of it.
The grapevine. Long time ago, the people from the country used to come to Donaldsonville. That's how they used to spend that Saturday afternoon.
Right.
They had a place like Philip Ferris and Picture Show and all that stuff. They'd come to Cherry, used to go to the picture show, and the parents used to go like at different places, and meet different people, like at the not the restaurant. They had these stores. You could sit down and order a drink, talk with people. It's the people from the country came to town.
Right.
And that's the only thing I knew about Donaldsonville. Donaldsonville was never a progress town. I don't know why.
Well, I was told that when the city started to deteriorate when the interstate came through, because the interstate's on the other side of the river, so a lot of that traffic just gets to bypass us.
Yeah, we used to have, when I was a kid going to school, we had this with the South Louisiana State Fair.
Right, where the new firehouse is.
Yeah, and they used to have a day for the school children, and it was really good. They had a football game there and everything, and it would last a week. And it was always a lot of people. That was way back then.
Oh wow! It was black and white pictures. I know that because I got this book, Donaldsonville, and when I saw it, I was like shocked. And it's funny because like some of these houses I've seen, and they're still from back in this old black and white picture, and I'm like, oh, I went there last week.
Yeah, but the Capital One Bank was out when I was working for Shell. I worked in that office. I was in the offices at one time, and they built the office here in Pettivin. Then they moved to New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go because my wife was kind of a sick person. I had to put my work around her. I couldn't leave her by herself, so I missed a lot of promotions on account of that. But we made it. We made it. We lived to be married 65 years when she died. She died of a stroke. Her mama died of a stroke too. She was at the Prevost Hospital. She was feeding her mom and she died.
Mm-hmm.
And that same thing happened over here. My wife was sitting right here where I was, and I was feeding her these Christmas cookies. She had Parkinson.
Oh, okay. Right.
And I was feeding her. And I thought she was choking, so I brought her to the sink, and I could feel everything was open. So I brought her back sitting down, and she didn't have no response. So I called a nurse, and the nurse came over here. No response. But they brought her to They did a lake in Baton Rouge. Then they brought it to the Carpenter house. He had never had a response, never did come back. So she stayed there in a week. And, you know, they used to keep her clean and comfortable and everything. She passed away in a week.
My condolences. My condolences. What is something that you've learned throughout life? What is a lesson you could teach the younger kids?
What did I learn?
Yeah, well, just
I learned how to be careful, learn how to treat people the right way. Work, honest work, labor. And, you know, you got to know a lot of people. I wasn't the type of a guy that would go sit at the ballroom. Most of them guys that come from work go sit at the ballroom till 11 o'clock at night. And then they howling about they don't have no money.
bars ain't cheap.
Yeah, they're drinking their money away. But anyway, I stayed home with my family.
And you said you had a lot of grandchildren and great-grandchildren?
Oh, yeah. Look at them on the icebox.
Oh, I see lots of pictures. You said there was 5 grandchildren
But
and
I got about
sets.
five generations.
5 generations.
And about four generations of five. I leave them on there. I get to see when they were small. I see them when they're big, but I can see them when they were small. And that's just some of them. I started that. I put one. I had one picture on there, but one of them come over here and said, "Papa, I don't see my picture on there." I said, "Well, you never sent me one." Well, and I started getting pictures.
That's what my grandpa used to do. That he had a whole wall full of pictures.
Yeah. So that's just some of them.
That's pretty neat. So, okay. What kind of things did in this city have? Because this is really geared towards Donaldsonville and you, of course. What kind of stuff would you like to see in this city?
What I'd like to see.
Yeah, what would you like to see?
I'd like to see the progress. I mean, Donaldsonville. If they wouldn't have got these grants, all these buildings would be falling down. They got the grant money, so they repaired them. I'd like to see the city more profit, could make their own living.
Oh, yes, indeed.
We don't have much business here in Donaldsonville.
I agree.
We got all our water lines and gas line is always leaking.
Well, they're replacing a bunch of the gas lines.
I don't see why they replace it.
They're on the ground. You can't see them.
But yeah, all I see them putting clamps on it. They don't replace them. They put clamps on them.
Well, I don't know I've seen many times like some of these old pipes. They're 100 years old for the gas, and it blows my mind because they pulled a piece out and it was like stamped with 1906, and it's like
a cast iron pipe.
Yeah, it was crazy.
But I don't know why they're changing that, but I don't see them changing no pipe around here. I got some water leak. I got a water leak right there by my driveway now.
Well, if it's on that side of the meter, it's all gravy, right?
Yeah, it's ahead of my meter, so I ain't worried about it. I call them and tell them your line is leaking, so they might come about 3 or 4 weeks later.
That's when you build you a pond right there and call it a day.
And my valve for my water, I can't close it. They promised 3 years ago. They promised to put me a new valve, and I'm still waiting.
Oh,
So,
that's pretty crazy.
well, they had the water people. They had a crew for the handle of water, and then the parish took over. They bought them out. But I don't see any difference in the work.
Well, I think we got 2 water companies here in the city. It's really kind of crazy. I don't know, People's Water and something else.
Yeah, they got the parish water, and then they got the people's water work. But I didn't know they were still combined. I thought the parish had bought them out.
Oh, I don't know. They're all kind of craziness.
The parish built a new building over here.
Right. Right there on T-Ville.
Yeah.
Pretty nice.
Yeah.
It's a big
And
building.
then the city built a building right there back of the Walmart.
Yeah, that old house.
Yeah.
It's that house they use as a warehouse.
They repaired that house, and after that they let it go down.
'Cause that's where they keep all the Christmas stuff.
Yeah, it used to be a plantation house at one time. Now you see, people owns all that property. They got properties along there, subdivision.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody bought a lot. They've been selling lots for 10 years. Nobody bought a lot yet.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that.
Everything is across the river. Our board helps the people across the river.
Pretty much.
Yeah. But I'd rather see Donaldsonville with more progress.
Well, I think it's coming because there's some stuff coming to the city that's going to be pretty cool.
Well, I mean, I want to see that. Because what I see now, all them buildings are bad. And nothing in them.
Well, they got the apartment, the Lemon building over there on Mississippi and Railroad. It's going to be apartments.
Yeah, but they got an apartment house there by the bank. They don't have. They got some people living in that apartment, but they had a rest. They were supposed to open a restaurant in that bank. They never did, and they had a bar room upstairs.
They did have there was the bank on the. Well, I know that old wing with the white building. There was a restaurant in there for a little while.
Yeah.
Now it's a library.
They never did really open for business. I don't know.
Oh, I've been there a few times.
Yeah.
When it was a restaurant.
And then they had a place next there where Gaston and them had a clothing store. All that was converted. A sleeping apartment and ballroom. The ballroom didn't last long. And at Capital One Bank, they just repaired all that. There's nothing in there.
Yeah, it's Capital One, because that's why I went to that bank and then they just said, we're leaving. And I'm like, what?
Yeah. But this area here, they call this the Lemon Edition.
This is the Lemon Edition?
Yeah, this is the Lemon Edition. From head to the front.
Okay.
And this Shell built 8 houses over here at one time in 1960.
Shell, like the refinery company?
No, it was a production.
Oh.
And I bought one of those houses in 1960. After they left and went to New Orleans, they sold them houses for $8,000.
Oh, wow.
I bought one, and then my father-in-law built this house. And his wife never did like this house, and then she lived here about 3 years and died. And then he didn't want to live by himself anymore, so my wife and I, the children, had all left already. We were by ourselves. So he asked us to come live with him. So Shirley, my daughter, took over that house, my house, and we moved in here and bought this house. There's more house than I need. They got a patio over here. They got a stove, and the barbecue pit never was used.
Oh, wow. I do see a big open air space over there.
Yeah. I mean, this is too much house. They built a big house and a big, I call it a playroom, and a little old shed outside, 8 by 8, instead of building a big shed. They didn't need that building. They thought they were going to entertain, but Oh, and my mother-in-law never did like that the entertainment business.
Well, there's a time and place for everything, right?
Yeah. So, but anyway, we live here since we moved in here in 1969.
Okay.
That's come a long ways.
Oh, no doubt. It's been a minute. And so, is there anything else you'd like to add? Anything you
Well-
want to talk about? I know you said you work for Shell and you got to go see Hawaii.
Yeah, but yeah, and then when I went into service, I left Staten Island on February 3rd, 1943. Yeah, 1943. And then 11 days after, we landed in Casablanca, North Africa.
I've never been to Casablanca, but I've seen the movie.
You saw the movie?
Uh
But everybody was looking for the rich cafe, and the movie was made in Texas.
huh. So movies lied to me?
Huh?
The movies lied to me?
Yeah. Casablanca. That was the name of the movie. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, when we landed in North Africa, they had some of them guys looking for a rich cafe. And it was the movie was made in Texas.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Pretty big difference between Texas and Africa, huh?
Huh?
Pretty big difference between Texas and Africa, huh?
Oh, yeah, the big difference.
So,
Yeah, I stayed on the front line over that 3 years. I left and never did come back till after the war was over.
okay. Well, if you have anything else, well, I'm listening. Camera's rolling. We're all good.
Yeah, well, I served under General Patton. And Patton, when we were in Sicily, I don't know if you heard of this, he slapped this guy in the hospital.
No way.
This guy was shell shocked.
Oh,
They brought him off the front line for 8 months. He took that hard. But he loved the war.
Patton did? Or the soldier?
Patton.
Okay.
He took that hoe and they brought him off there. He said when we get into town sometime, he'd be directing traffic.
Really? So Patton became a stoplight.
Yeah, we one night we come by. I told my car crew we're gonna sleep in this house tonight. And we're gonna get us a good night's sleep. And while we were cooking our meal, there's a lady that came up from from the cellar. She said, "Let me let you know that in England, in Germany,
Mm-hmm.
they talk English just like we talk here.
For real?
Yeah. And in Paris, France, they speak French just like we speak. And I can speak both of them. I got along pretty good.
Oh,
And
I barely speak English.
and but it's just like over here. You get on in French they call it a wallon, and in English it's a slang. They got slang that you got to listen close when they're talking.
Oh, okay.
You know, on the outskirts like Berlin and all that, they speak the same English we speak.
But little
I had
words tweaked.
more trouble understanding them Englishmen than in other countries.
Well, I do love me some Doctor Who.
I didn't know the way to talk English. You got a slang in there, I guess. I don't know. Had to listen close to them.
I get it because like it's really funny because like one of my shows I watch is from England and sometimes you have to work really hard to figure out what's going on because they use some really wrong English.
But in England, I was stationed about 60 miles from Berlin. I mean, from London.
Oh, okay.
I never did go there. I never did care about going to England. I used to go like to Birmingham, England, or that other town in the area.
Mm-hmm.
You could walk there. You could
Yeah.
spend the night there. But you go to London, and they were bombing in London, so
You kind of stay away from it.
you stay on the front line. You have a headache all the time. You come back in the rest period. Just by the time your headache leave you, you got to go back on the front line. Laying down at night, you hear them artillery shell going over your head, whistling, hoping it don't fall short. Yeah. And when we landed in North Africa, the Air Force, the German Air Force, they drop flares. They mark you off. And they can see you better than you can see them. And they start dropping those personnel bombs. Everywhere we stopped, we had to dig a foxhole. We wasted a lot of stuff like gas and all. People were rationing states, and we were wasting gasoline over there.
How would you waste it?
We didn't have. When I first went to England, to North Africa,
Mm-hmm.
we had these wool ODs and wore a necktie all the time. We fought with necktie. That's how neat Patton was.
For real?
Yeah, he was dressed up all the time. He was in the first and second army with a cavalry unit at one time.
Okay.
And he was dressed in a cavalry uniform and big hard boots and all that. And he had an orderly from Lafayette.
Huh.
Yeah, he was okay.
That's cool. I'm just gonna check. Okay, it's still recording. All right.
It went out.
No, I got the red light on, so it means it's still doing something. So we can keep going. But yeah, that's.
Yeah, we when we were liberated, I got a medal the French government gave me.
Oh, okay.
That was presented to me at the World War II Museum in New Orleans for liberating that country. It's a medal, but that's the second medal that we got from France. We got a quarter guard across of the war. We used to wear on our shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a map on the wall in there that from the time we left Staten Island to the time we got to Berlin. I asked some of my children if they wanted it, said they didn't care about fooling with it. I got a nephew in Baton Rouge that in his office he want to make a little museum on his wall. So he took the map was bigger than my television. It was
Probably about at least a 40-inch TV.
framed.
That's a big TV.
Yeah, well, it was framed up. It was framed up, had a glass on it and everything. I was hanging on the wall. And they tell you everywhere we went what we did.
It's awesome.
And, so it was a nice map. I'd have donated it to the museum in
Nola?
in New Orleans, but he wanted it, so he asked me, and I gave him other stuff that I had.
That's good. Good to go home. Better to go to a good home. You know.
So, and he said after he get it all fixed up, he's gonna come get me and bring me and see what I thought of it. So that's, during the war, there's a lot of stuff you talk about, some of the stuff you don't want. The amazing thing about it, I've never had a dream or a nightmare about nothing that happened during the war. You know how you got to get them crazy dreams?
Oh, definitely.
And I never had a dream or a nightmare for nothing that happened during World War II, which was, I thank the good Lord for that.
Yeah, you've been through a lot.
Yeah, well, we made there all through North Africa. We were a replacement for the first and second, for the first Armored Division. The first and second Armored Division was the only two divisions in the United States Army had 18,000 men. All the rest of the divisions had 12,000. And it was all Southern boys in the first and second Armored Division. So we were wearing neckties and wool all during the African War. And when we made the invasion of Sicily, they told us to take out. Hello? Hello? I don't want to talk either. I wish I knew who they was. I'd fix them up.
Probably some call center and who knows where.
And I don't know what I was talking about.
You were talking about when you got to Sicily. I think
Yeah,
they were going with.
We passed around that little island of Malta, where all these foreign priests come from.
Right.
And it was all on the beach with their white flags and all holding up sheets. And that's when they come over the microphone in LST that we could take our necktie off. So we just cut them off with a knife and we threw them overboard. I guess they must have had a bunch of ties over there by the little island. We landed in Gale, Sicily on D-Day. And the Air Force was supposed to come there first and bomb that town. But we got through that town. We didn't know that. We thought they had been there. The Air Force had been over that town. But if we'd had to retreat, we couldn't come back to that town because they destroyed it. But anyway, we used to watch them fighter planes dogfighting. They had some 6-inch cement covers. We used to get in the covers and watch them.
Oh, wow.
They were in the half track. When you're on the front line, you're only looking through a hole about that big.
That's not a lot to see out of.
But when you're not in, when you're out on the front line, you can raise that
A hatch.
the windshield and you can see good. It's a glass windshield. Yeah. I was driving a half track. We had 50 landmines in there. We had all these hand grenades. Had a mortar crew with all the mortar shells, and I was pulling a trailer with 100 rounds of 105 ammunition. If we'd have got a direct hit, they wouldn't even find the blood.
It's a lot of ammo. So you said you worked for Shell?
Yeah.
And
I worked for Shell 38 years.
38 years?
In the solar field, that's when I went to work with Pat Taylor. Pat Taylor wanted me to run his business. So I told him, when I was working that, I was doing a job on the underground storage at Sorrento.
Yeah.
We were doing a well that pipe had bent. But anyway, so I told him, I said, I don't do business on the phone, so he came out there. That's when I went to work for him. I mean, I could have went to work for Shell, but I'd have to go to Mississippi. I wish I would have known that. The fella that went in my place stayed up there a week and came back and never went back after.
Wow.
So I missed out on that. But anyway, I made more money with Taylor, but I didn't have the benefits. He was starting. He had some oil rigs offshore, and we had 3 oil fields here. We had 3 in Lake Charles, and I was on the road all the time. So he paid. I think it was. I don't remember. In other words, we paid that out in half of the money that he had paid for the field. We were supposed to pay for that in 36 months, and we paid it off in 18 months.
Oh, so you made a lot on that one.
And then the oil was only about $2.50 a barrel. And
I don't know what a barrel of oil costs
and
now.
then it went up to $32 a barrel. Now they're talking about it going up to $100 a barrel. I'm not too enthused about that president we got now. All the cost, everything is going up.
When it comes to that, it is what it is. You know, all we can do is just keep chugging along.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't make a living for me. I make my own living, so.
Yeah.
But he made the rules, and we didn't have no business paying no $3 for gasoline. Not with all the oil and gas we got in this country.
I remember when I was 18, gas was less than $1.
Well, I paid 20 cents a gallon at one time. You could buy a pack of cigarettes for 15 cents. Now you pay $45 for a carton.
It's like $8 a pack of cigarettes last time I seen.
Yeah. I mean, that's no. Of course, I quit. I smoked. I smoked for a long time, and the reason why I quit smoking, when I was working shift work with Shell, I used to smoke so much I'd get dizzy. I said, heck, I gotta quit smoking. And when I quit smoking, I had 10 cartons of cigarettes. I give them all away. I used to come to where these German prisoners were here.
Mm-hmm.
Come here and buy you could buy a carton of cigarettes for 15 cents. And we always had in your ration, you always had a little pack with 3 cigarettes in there. We had a big box in there. We used to throw all our stuff. That's how we used to get our clothes washed. We had them chocolate bars. They used to love them chocolate bars. And they'd wash and iron your underclothes with a chocolate bar.
Huh. So how long did they have the prisoners here?
Well, they didn't have any more labor, all our labor.
Because they all went overseas.
Yeah. What they had over here is all there was left to do that work, like doing grinding and all that. Right now, 3 guys can save a crop. In them days, 20 minutes. It took over 20 minutes to save a crop. And then when they hold a cane, they had about 50 workers holding cane. And now the big tractors, you could pass half of your property in a day.
Oh, those big tractors are nothing nice. They're huge.
They don't know how strong they are. But it's a change. I mean, it's really a big change from the first generation to the second generation.
Oh, machines are awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Just like I love my computers.
Yeah, they had them old tractors. There was narrow wheel. You'd be going down you turn the tractor, turn over. Mules. Everybody had about 100 mules. Mules and plows. It's really a different life.
Oh, yes, indeed. Anything
Yeah.
else you think about?
That's not all I know.
That's about all. Well, Mrs. Torres, I appreciate your time sitting and talking with me.
Well, I don't know what I talked about, but
Oh, we talked about a lot. Having directed traffic, all kind of craziness. And what I'll do is, when I get it edited, I'll go ahead and make sure we get you a copy of it. And then I'll put you on the computer and we'll set you up. So, and if you need any help from me, I'll give you my phone number and we'll take care of you. All right?
yeah, okay, yeah, appreciate it.